Migrants. Let's get right to it and check out one of Guam's finest.
How you doing, Paul?
Hey, half a day. Good morning, and hope everybody's staying safe.
Sergeant Paul Tapao of the Guam Police Department. Sarge, we wanted to bring you on. Where are we at with crime? Because I don't know if this is anecdotal, but it does seem like the bad guys are starting to pop their heads out.
Well, other than what we've been reporting to the media, and of course what you're seeing in the Magi's report, every media outlet has the ability to obtain the magistrate's reports. But if you're really tracking what we've actually been highlighting, it's a really dynamic effect prior to COVID-19, and of course where we are now with the onset of COVID-19. Many different changes in which the Guam Police Department has undergone with addressing and, of course, moving forward with COVID-19. So we still have our standard patrol officers that are out there investigating crime or, providing the omnipresence and preventing crime from happening. Of course, with the governor's executive order for the mandatory isolation and, of course, the suspension of various operations to include government buildings and, of course, are private. We've seen, some reports of home break-ins and, of course, break-ins to business establishments. One of the reports that I'm actually working on is a break-in that happened at the Chamorro village. There's the shops along there were actually reported yesterday, or I stand correct, last night, a slew of break-ins that happened to their establishment. So we're going to be working on that release. But, the opportunity presents itself for everybody, both the criminals and, of course, our law-abiding citizens, in really making the choices in helping better our island by being vigilant out there, by providing information to suspicious activities. We're seeing an uptick in a lot of reports coming in from our neighborhood watch programs that have actually helped us with our curfew enforcement. And the numbers that we're tracking from last week, or since the onset of COVID-19, we're seeing a decrease with violators that are offending with the curfew, because what we've done is we've actually reached out to our neighborhood watch groups, and we had asked them to please actively report any curfew violations. So we're going to be working closely with them. Yesterday was a great, I don't want to say a great tool that we use in reference to what was shared in the social media relative to the active shooter. With the components of the neighborhood watch groups, we have a neighborhood watch commanders chat in which we actually vet information that comes in, whether it be information from social media or an inquiries about crime related or issues with safety and security. So with the incident that happened in East Gajanero, the reports of active shooter happening in Jigo, we were able to vet that and, of course, provide the information to assure the safety of the community and, of course, to avoid prevent any panic within that respective community in Jigo. But we saw the effects of what social media does with our watch groups down in Malolo, our watch groups in Santa Rita and Nangan, and, of course, our central area. So this is a great opportunity in which we can actually develop and, of course, find methods in which we can actually utilize and start utilizing our neighborhood watch program. But we're starting to see reports of break-ins to business establishments that have been closed because of the isolation and, of course, the closure or the suspension of government and private operations. So as our officers are out and about, we're really reaching out to our neighborhood watch groups to be the eyes and ears for the community and report any suspicious activity. So this is where we are now with, in reference to what's going on with crime related with the onset of COVID-19.
Sarge, are you guys at all hampered in your response capability, given, I know you guys aren't shut down, but social distancing or just, how has this whole COVID-19 affected you guys' ability to respond to these calls?
It's It changed. It changed like every other agency and jurisdictions, that deals with law enforcement. It really changes the mindset. I mean, that's the first thing that we needed to practice was changing the officer's mindset. We've limited the contact with the community by isolating people from coming into the precincts. We have, in ways in which we actually respond to calls, we have to ask the precursor questions so that the supervisors can deploy the personnel accordingly should somebody be affected with COVID-19. Our officers have to practice social distancing, whether we get up close and personal. The mindset in itself has shifted and more of social distancing and maintaining the safety of the individual officer. But nonetheless, we still have active patrol officers. That didn't change anything with the numbers of what we're putting out there. We've deployed officers to the skilled nursing facility. We have a response team. We have a curfew a curfew task force team that's out there. We work closely with the Department of Youth Affairs in that. We're seeing more officers, more presence and out and about in the streets. So the operations in itself with patrol, the foundation and the backbone of every police agency, is met and is providing the same service as it has been prior to COVID-19. With the introduction of COVID-19, we've shifted operations in providing security personnel at the quarantine sites, and of course our task force. So, the Guam Police Department has ramped up a lot of what we needed to do to in moving and addressing with COVID-19.
Paul, I wanted to ask about, I know that you guys have the curfew law in place, but you're starting to see some of these knuckleheads that are out there committing serious crimes. These aren't just like, I'm out past curfew and I'm hanging out with my friends. They're actually breaking into places. There's reports of home invasion, aggravated assault. How concerned should the community be? It's
really an issue in which we're trying to work with the parents, and the community has every right to be concerned. The community has every right to be frustrated because I know firsthand every individual is doing their part in assuring the safety of not just themselves but the entire community and adhering to the executive order of staying home and isolating people and everything. But you're right, we have knuckleheads who just don't understand, and maybe it's just ignorance of the fact of what's going on and what's happening. They still believe it's a liberty, it's a holiday and everything. So the onus is really on the parents and how we convey the message to the parents. You got to applaud, and I like to really applaud our juvenile task force who are working closely with the Department of Youth Affairs. They are really providing the educational platform about the importance of the curfew. And we're providing the numbers as you saw, last week, which we provided to the Joint Information Center. The numbers have actually gone down within the past few days, and I think the message is finally reaching home to a lot of these offenders or these minors who choose to violate the curfew. But you're right, it is concerning. The community has every right to be concerned and frustrated, and this is where we've actually seen a uptick in information provided by the neighborhood watch groups. We've actually placed some of the task force members with the curfew violator or the curfew task force within the respective watch groups. So it's just a matter of a drop of a dime when somebody reports a curfew violator that our task force, will respond in a proper timely manner. And this is it's alarming to see some of the videos that are circulating where we know for a fact they're minors. They're actually donning PPEs. They have gloves, masks, and they're trying to break into cars. And like, okay, you're practicing personal protection, safety, but you're also committing a serious crime. So, when we do make the apprehensions, there's an understanding that these offenders or these violators are going to have to face the consequences, and this is why we're mandating the confinement at the Department of Youth Affairs. But we're working to address this. We understand the seriousness, and we've had issues with alcohol related. And, this is where we need to work with the
alcohol related?
Yeah.
How? Okay.
Yeah,
where are they getting the alcohol?
When we used to have our daily function about when people ask where they get the alcohol, we used to attribute it to the magic bus stop. But now there's no magic bus stop because there's no school operation. It's really where they can get their hands on alcohol, whether it be somebody who provides it to them, an adult, an irresponsible adult who provides it to the minors. This is where they have to understand that, hey, if you keep these kids out of harm's way, if you don't provide this, if you don't influence these kids in this negative way, you can actually help not just the family or the household member, but you're actually helping the community because they're tying down their resources. Realistically, if our officers have to respond to a drunken minor, and they, a riot ensues, God forbid a full escalated riot ensues. This is why we have to be proactive out there as a community and report this once they spot a curfew violator, because we don't want it to escalate any further than where we know it can escalate.
Yeah, I mean, because you have people already scared of the coronavirus, and now we got to be scared of these knuckleheads running around the streets.
There should be some kind of added like vulnerable victims. I wonder if we could apply vulnerable victim to anybody who's obeying this shutdown.
Yeah, this is where, man, Chris, that's really something which we would like to work with the AGs. We've been working closely with the AGs in how we do our arrests, and getting the guidance with the prosecutors and how they're going to move forward. So we work closely with the AGs, and we've been working. Basil has been attached to a lot of the officers' hips, in reference to how we move forward with the cases and how we can actually help the vulnerable victims in this aspect. But every day presents a new challenge, and every day presents a new opportunity in exploring these challenges and how we address it and how we tackle it. So like I said, life changed for Guam yesterday, and it continues to change. So as it evolves, we'll move forward and address it.
So I guess you would recommend, if you're not on your village neighborhood watch chat group, get on it today.
Get on it. It's paying its twofolds back to the community, and we're seeing a lot of information sharing COVID related, and we're also seeing a lot of information sharing about safety and security within the community. So, a lot of these area commanders within the respective groups have actually stepped up and have actually ramped up, a lot of the information sharing and then that's really important. Is the processing of information and how they get it, vetting it to the Guam Police Department. We're able to vet it to the Marianas Fusion Center. We're able to vet these informations to the Joint Information Center, and of course the Guam Police Department and all the other agencies. So, if you want straight information coming from the source, get involved with a neighborhood watch group. If you want information about what's going on in your community and how you can help safeguard your community, get involved with your neighborhood watch group. It doesn't take we're not asking you to go out there and be vigilante patrol. We're just asking you just to pay.
Are you sure we're not at that point yet, Sarge? I feel like we do need to do vigilante patrol.
No, we the community has taken ownership, and just understanding. And when we did the training, just prying out of your eye, your windows and your doors at home. You can actually, you're providing the surveillance for the community. So we're seeing a lot of great reports coming in from the community watch groups. So, get involved there. And that's where we can actually help safeguard and, allow our officers and all our first responders to respond to serious, calls. Serious calls that require the man hours and, of course, the personnel. So if we can prevent this from happening, if we can be all proactive, we can see, a better turn in direction of where crime is now within the community. But nonetheless, we're still moving forward with the Guam Police Department, and we're still working alongside our respective neighborhood watch groups and, of course, our respective mayors.
All right.
Well, Sarge, I want to thank you for your time, and we'll be sure to get the message out to stay home. You guys just stay home. You won't be doing home invasion and all that stuff.
That's classic. I really admire you guys' PSAs. It hits home, and understanding the importance of the executive order. We can actually, if you're tracking the numbers and stuff, it's really, people just do their part. People just do their, understand their personal responsibility by staying home, by practicing proper hygiene, and of course, educating your kids about what they need to do. This changed for everything. You know, I had to talk to my kids about, in the event of this situation happening, this is what you need to do. And that's hard, you know, talking to a 12 and a 17-year-old that, should we come to this is what needs to be done. I never thought I'd be talking to my kids like that. And, you know, we've come to grips of where we are. And I, you know, like I said, information is the key right now in what we need to do to move forward with COVID and how we can actually work as a community. So pay attention to the information coming out of the Joint Information Center. Get involved with your neighborhood watch group, and like your PSAs, stay home and, you know, exercise your personal responsibility and your community responsibility by practicing what you need to do, and just stay home and, you know, and just write it out like everybody else.
You're not saying it right, Sarge. You got to be like, just stay home.
Wait, before you say it that way, I wanted to ask, in the CNMI, they implemented a mandatory 7 p.m. curfew for everybody, not just the kids. Do you foresee that at some point going into effect here?
You know, that's a tough decision that has to be made by the agency heads, and of course, alongside with our leaders here. And you know, like I said, we have to take this day by day, and you know, the decision is really the direction that we're, you know, from the governor. She's really provided us with good leadership and a good direction of what we need to do in addressing with COVID-19. And you know, my heart goes out to you know, my 670 peeps up at Saipan, and of course the Northern Marianas. It was tragic. It was tragic hearing that, and you know, Governor Torres understands. You know, he has the authority to do that, and where we are now with Guam, again, you know, we have to wait for the guidance and the leadership of you know, the governor and the lieutenant
Right,
governor.
but decisions are made based on, you know, guidance is provided to her, and so you would think that that guidance would come from the police department, the men and women that are out there out in the field battling these knuckleheads that are out there running amok.
I think if we take a holistic approach from the community, you know, the governor has good reasoning and everything, and you know, she has good leadership within the cabinet, the advisors. You know, Carlo Branch, and Carlo Branch is a phenomenal individual. He's a genius in my mindset, and you know, with the agencies and of course the cabinet leaders, you know, can lead the governor in making and providing the information that should be warranted.
All right, thanks, Paul. Can you just go ahead and do your stay home?
All right, stay home, everybody.
No, a little bit louder, more emphasis.
Like bad.
To the knuckleheads out there.
You know, Chris did it better than me. So, you know, I'm practicing good feng shui in my house and in my office. And,
he's doing his breathing right now, Bree. Don't mess up his focus.
Yeah, but I got my calming methods. So,
right.
Yeah.
Me too.
Patchouli oil. I don't think your calming method is working, Sabrina. Thank you, Sarge.
Be safe, stay healthy.
Okay. Okay, that's that. Okay. There you go, Sergeant Paul Tapau. You know what is interesting, Bree, what I was thinking about yesterday, driving around, picking up lunch, so much traffic, and it just makes me mad. It makes me mad because we're accepted. We're in the media. We have, you know, authority. We can be here. We can do our job. But going out there, man, you guys are just not taking this serious. I mean, you know, a line like, 40 cars to get coffee? Are you serious, guys? Come on. It just annoys the hell out of me, Bria.
Jason?
Okay, I just want to add something. The three of us have had this discussion privately. Now I'd like to open it up a little more.
Yeah.
Do you guys foresee us going into a state of martial law?
That's what I was going to say.
And do you actually support that decision?
I'm saying a lot of people want martial law. In what world are we living in, or people are welcoming the idea of us being locked down and National Guard troops, tanks in the streets? That's what the people want.
Now, I didn't get a chance to jump on with Sergeant Tapau there, but if I did, I was actually going to ask him if we do get to that point, what then does GPD's role and jurisdiction become if, you know, you've got National Guardsmen and uniformed police officers, you know, trying to make sure that everybody does in fact stay in?
Yeah, I think they just work together and do what they got to do. Just tase everybody.
So
you would out, tase them.
So you would be in favor of that?
I'll vote for it twice.
There you go.
If that's
What
what,
about
we
you,
got to
Bree?
do, if that's what we got to do to, don't talk to Bree. She's typing hard.
Yeah.
No, but you know, I'm talking to a lot of people, and you see it in the comments. Everyone's like, lock down the island. They all seem to think that no one is taking this seriously. There goes 20 cars right by my window, and they're not. They're not taking it serious. There's too many exceptions. There's a mixed message. The beaches are closed, but go to the beach and do your mental exercise. So yeah, we'll take a break. It's 8:19. We're gonna talk a session, and
We are?
yeah, we're gonna get the
What session?
Yeah, exactly. So I got some thoughts on this. This is just, well, it's a rapidly evolving situation, is what it is, and we're gonna find out and get to the bottom of why your elected senators haven't done any work. Can I say they haven't done any work, or are they gonna say like,
Working
no,
over the
we
phone.
called, we worked over the phone,
Oh.
we sent a letter. Yeah, but there's no session, and now it looks like there's not gonna be session TFN until further notice. 820. It's containing
TFN.
code. Yeah, that's it.
MIA.
Okay. Good morning, Guam.